Hey everyone, what's up? It's Chris. I am now becoming a little more obsessed with Dreadhorde Arcanist, which has led me to this. This is a Grixis sort of Dreadhorde Arcanist slanted Death Shadow list. So we're still playing Death Shadows, we're still playing a Painful Mana Base, 4 Thoughtseize and 2 Dismembers. I have got rid of the Street Wraiths and Mishra's Bauble package in favour of much more cheap 1 mana instants and sorceries. So we've got the 4 Thought Scours to fill the graveyard, which works great with Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then Jace and Snapcaster Mage. I've got 3 Serum Visions, so 7 cantrips total, 4 counter spells. We've got 3 Fatal Push. We've got 2 Lightning Bolts, 2 Unearths, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Inquisitions. So we've got a lot of cheap 1 mana interaction. And then the threats are the 4 Death Shadows, 2 Young Pyromancers, 4 Dreadhorde Arcanists. The only more expensive spells are the Dismembers and Kolagon's Commands, which I just thought were indispensable. They're too good. And whilst they don't synergize with Dreadhorde Arcanist, they're great with all of our other creatures. So that's kind of the plan. Same mana base as Grixis Shadow. Might find that we're 1 short without the Street Wraiths. I might need to go up to 18, but we're going to try it like this. The sideboard is basically a fairly typical Grixis Shadow sideboard as well. I am not sure how correct or incorrect the list I've put together is. This is just sort of first attempt, basically. So we're going to take it through a Modern League now and cross our fingers that we do kind of okay. And yeah, it's an experiment. What can I say? It's a nice day. It's, you know, I haven't got a care in the world. I might as well cast some 1-drops. So let's see if we can make some good use of these Arcanists, because they're obviously crazy powerful. And Grixis was the colour combination that I thought had access to the most powerful 1 mana instants and sorceries. That was the reason for being Grixis, because I tried this with a Stoneblade Jeskai shell, which was fine, but it wasn't as good as just regular Stoneblade. Apologies for the delay. Maybe the modern... I was about to say maybe the modern queue isn't very busy this morning, but then we're in. And it's not the morning, it's lunchtime. It's 1:30 in England right now. I like my hand. Let's see what opponent is up to. Breeding Pool normally means Noble Hierarchy things. That counts as a Noble Hierarchy thing. I think I'm going to fetch a Watery Grave and kill it. I may as well Fatal Push it. And save the Dismember if they have anything that's harder to kill, because Dismember is a bit more thorough. The upside to playing Dismember is it would give us a lower life total with 2 Shadows in hand, so maybe that was worth considering. Obviously we're hoping for land. That's not land. Gonna Thought Scour myself. Again, still hoping for land. Yay. I'm brilliant. We can use Jace to loot away other Jace, which is very helpful. Hopefully we get to cast a Dismember on something on their turn and untap and just make, you know, a very threatening board. That would be nice. Okay. Obviously it feels lousy using removal on a creature that's replaced itself and is only 1 power, but we may be priced into it nonetheless. Okay. I'm wondering if this is some kind of a 4 or 5 colour copycat list. Oath of Nissa is something you normally play in these Felidar Guardian lists. Okay. I was going to say, if they don't have another land, I'm definitely killing the bird. I think I'm still killing the bird. Well, no, the Coatl trades, doesn't it? The Coatl trades, so... But I'm going to take the 1, because I think I want my life total to be lower. Let's do it. Let's get a Blood Crypt. because I don't want them to be able to kill a Death Shadow conveniently. I want the Death Shadow to be a massive problem for them, basically. This is nice. That was a good draw, obviously. Your go. Can you beat 2 6/6s with your empty board? Grixis Death Shadow, when you draw well, it just feels outrageous. I assume they bounce. Yep. Well, that gives us a reasonable turn of playing Jace and Death Shadow. No, there's not really a consideration to playing Peasy this turn. We can play Peasy next turn after we flip Jace and use Jace to flashback Bolt to kill the Teferi or something like that. That would be a fairly productive turn. It's a bit upsetting how much of their deck cantrips, because they've still got an awful lot of resources. I assume they're a Stoneblade deck of some kind. They might just be like generically value-y Bant. Alright. They've got to kill one of my things. It'll be interesting to see which they go for. Okay. Well, our next turn is fairly scripted. It's going to be kill a Planeswalker. Probably Vraska. So the oath is not to flicker with Felidar Guardian, it is literally just to... It feels bad not getting value out of a Peasy the turn you play it, I have to say, but we've just made all these ridiculous threats they have to answer, so it should be pretty good. I'm holding the Tarn to loot away. I would like to keep spells in hand, if you're wondering why I didn't play that. Yeah, position feels fine. I mean, we're down on cards in hand, but we're ahead on board by quite a lot. Obviously, if they're playing main deck Supreme Verdict or something, we pretty much die on the spot, and they can do it on our turn, thanks to Teferi. So I would like them to not have 4 mana when we go to our turn, so I don't have to consider that. Okay. So they've kept up interaction of some kind. Maybe a Coatl would be a good guess. Let's find out. I'm not worried about my life total particularly. They don't seem to be putting me under any pressure. That's weird, because they are putting a thing in their hand in order for me to then take it out. Oh, they're casting a Coatl. Okay, fine. Don't care. That thing's going to die because I can use Jace. They are a copycat deck. Okay, well. Now I have to figure out whether I can just kill them. I'll put them to 9. Kill. Can't kill Tefs this turn. Or I can put them to 14 and kill Tefs, which I think is preferable. Tefs is down. They have 5 mana next turn, so I have to take one of these two. I will take the Assassin's Trophy. That makes sense to me. kill that. Now we're getting somewhere. So their hand is Sun Titan. What was it? Sun Titan Vista. Can't even remember. That's very impressive, Chris. Might have been better just to put Teferi to 2 and reduce their life total further, but I don't think they're winning. Yeah, good. I did hear that a lot of rumours that, like, if everyone's playing clunky 3 and 4 mana heavy fair decks, that Grixis Shadow is great because you just go massively under them. I do think I agree. Last Hopes and Plague Engineers seem good. Don't think I want anything else. They've got Mana Dorks, which makes Liliana of the Veil bad because they can sack a Birds of Paradise and keep their good thing. Seen very good 2-drops, very little. Yeah, we get rid of spells PS. Actually, if they're playing Teferis, maybe we get rid of all counter spells. That makes some sense to me. And in that scenario, do I just want an Abrade? I think I keep 1 spell pierce in to try and actually snag a Teferi on its way down. The plan is to just grind them into the dust. I have to say, that felt good. That was a very impressive first showing from the deck. Long may that continue, eh? I mean, what's not to like? It's just a pile of powerful spells that are hard to deal with. Yeah, I love it. We're on the draw, which makes the risk element of a 1-lander even less serious. I've got to decide now whether I'm Inquisitioning or Serum Visiting on turn 1. Astrolabe is fine. I suspect I want to Inquisition on turn 1. Okay. I think I take Eladamri's Call now, and then Time Raveler next turn? Question mark? No, I'll just take Time Raveler. It's just the best card. Let's be sensible. There's no point being greedy, because next turn I want to draw a land so that I can Arcanist. I should have kept their hand revealed. Oh, it's done it for me. Nice. Land would be incredible, but a bit lucky. Okay, don't get land, which is fine. It's about what we deserve. So we're going to try and set up a land for next turn. It's not perfect, like we would have liked to fetch so we can get a Blood Crypt, but it's not the end of the world. And I know it looks sketchy, but I think with the curve being what it is, and with the deck cantripping as much as it does, I think 1-landers are fine with this deck, and I don't anticipate... Oh, they drew Quattle, did they? No, they drew Eladamri's Call. Oh no, they're casting the Eladamri's Call we knew about. That's fine. Come on, Chris, keep up. I assume they just get a Quattle, start trying to draw some cards. They got a Tracker. That's a good one. Hopefully we can kill it. Not currently, though. Here it comes. No. So they're just duressing me. That's fine. they would presumably take the Inquisition to protect their tracker, with the assumption that they wanted to cast tracker next turn and then play a fetch. Land. Oh yeah, we know it's land. Duh. Well, we know we're going to get to untap with it, so we're going to play the Vryn's Prodigy and be happy about it. I suppose one possibility is that they go tracker, Vista, Path, kill. They can't really let me untap because as soon as it doesn't have summoning sickness, I can activate it and turn it into a Planeswalker. I think that's correct. It's 5 cards? 5 or more, yeah. So it would be very bad of them to let me untap, is what I'm saying. So they should probably fetch now and Path now. But that's fine, because that means we get 3 mana when we untap. So that's gone, that's gone. This is probably about to go. Be interesting to see if they do indeed Path now or not. They might be remembering how many lands it takes to flip... how many graveyard cards it takes to flip Jason, trying to figure it out. They shouldn't let me untap. Good decision, opponent. Very smart. Land? It is a land, it's a red source at that. I thought scout myself. This is a good turn. Get a blood crypt. Play this. And play this. Well, as annoying as it is, it's very reassuring to know that they've got nothing going on except for that tracker, because once we kill said tracker, we'll be laughing. And we can do cool stuff like next turn we can Dreadhorde Arcanist flashback Thought Scour on ourselves, and then try and add a push or a bolt to the graveyard so that we can then go after the tracker. I mean, the tracker is a serious... Like, if you have to have only one thing going on, Tireless Tracker is a good one thing to have, so we can't be too complacent. They decided not to lower my life total any more than they needed to. Woof, that's good. Let's attack. I'm going to Serum Visions. That's the more sort of abstractly powerful cantrip we've got access to. We drew Thoughtseize. The top of our deck is amazing. I like all of this. So they're going to take 1. Let's get that thing dead. They can only grow it twice, so it will go to maximum 4 toughness. Okay. They wisely decide to crack their clues as late as possible. I'm not going to cast Thoughtseize because I know their hand is most likely dead right now, and then they're going to crack clues in my end step, which is very smart of them. It's a little bit like the correct way to use Mishra's Bauble against Thoughtseize decks is because you cantrip on the next upkeep. Your best bet when you're using Mishra's Bauble against Thoughtseize decks is, in fact, to do it, like, say, on your opponent's upkeep, see what they're about to draw, and then you draw on your upkeep instead of doing it on your own turn. Because obviously, It's human nature to want to do it as soon as possible because we're all greedy. Okay, that's the last known card. They're going to put me to 4, which is, I think, fine. It's annoying that we don't have a Death Shadow, but we can find one. And it makes my inclination to cast this Thoughtseize very low. It's not Sun Titan. Okay. Could be worse. We've still got a good hand. I'm going to run this out. I'm going to cast this. Draw the Death Shadow, set up the top of my deck. Don't want either. And pass. So what do we know? We don't know anything. We know we know they've got more than 2 cards in hand, really, because of the clues. They're going to go up to a third now, probably 4 on there. Well, 4, 5. So they've got a lot of cards. We've got high quality cards. Okay, so now I'm much more inclined to start firing off some hand attack. I'll use my Dreadhorde to flash back an Inquisition if I can, if they don't kill it. If they do, maybe I'll do the same with Snapcaster. They're quite a mana-hungry deck, so I don't think 7 qualifies as Flood for them. They've got like Sun Titan we've seen, so I think we can assume that there's plenty of capacity for bad things still to happen. I'm very glad that tracker died. That's a scary card. Trophy, the Arcanist. Sure. Don't have any lands. Bit sad. Can I go to 2? I'm going to assume that it's safest to just Inquisition first. Pay this black. I'm confused. Maybe it's a K command. 2 to snap, make me discard. 2 to me, make me discard, something like that. Okay. So brought back the coatl just so I could take it. Odd. I don't mind them having Fiery Justice because, to be honest, I'm not that comfortable at 4 life. That was an accident. I'd rather be sitting at sort of 6 or 7. Makes it slightly harder to just randomly die. That's a good draw step. They can like bin the Astrolabe they don't need, or the second Forest, and just start drawing cards. Okay, so their hand is an unknown and a bop. I'm going to scour myself. Mill 2 Death Shadows, draw a land. That wasn't what we wanted to do. That was unfortunate. did they discard? They discarded the Fiery Justice. Which means we play the Death Shadow. They cast Eladamri's Call, it looks like. And I'm genuinely expecting them to minus Vraska on this, and then we have to do it all over again, which is going to be fun. This game is close, but I think we're losing. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana up, so they can get something pretty good here. Sun Titan. I'll concede to a Sun Titan. Let's go again. I do not think the Plague Engineers would have been very good had we drawn them. And they've got so many 2s. Yeah, we'll try that. I was thinking if they had enough, like, they're not that creaturey. I was thinking of, like, Plague Engineer being good against their myriad of X1s, which is most of their creatures, but then the handful of creatures that matter, it doesn't do anything. So, let's try to spell snare them instead. I still think in game 3 on the play, if we have a functional hand and don't miss our second land drop, which we have both those things, we will be good. This looks like one of those ridiculous Death Shadow draws where the deck is close to unbeatable to me. Let me shred your hand, please, opponent. Oh dear, that's not a very good hand, is it? Seems like a pretty ambitious snap keep. Sahili can only ping players, right? Each opponent, yeah. I was going to say, if that pings my Pyro, I will be a salty boy. Wow. So, I don't know why they didn't play the Forest we knew about, or any of the Vistas to thin their deck, but it's very reassuring to know that they've still got 5 bad cards in hand. Cool. I'll deal 3 more to myself. I will Thought Scour myself. Drew a Jace, eh? I still think I just want to get the shadows down. I've seen no lightning bolts. The only removal I've seen is paths, and if I get pathed, then so be it. Like it's generally, if your opponent has red mana, it's generally not right to play a Death Shadow that's a 2 rather than a 4. You know, like I could have waited a turn and fetch shocked again, but this is so much pressure. Like next turn we're attacking for 3/13, which is not trivial. And they're most likely just making a Sahili Ray, which does nothing. I guess they make a hasty Astrolabe in order to draw another card, because they're in tons of trouble. That makes some sense. That's a great draw. Get me steam vents. Go deal them 1,000,000. So the way we lose here is exactly Supreme Verdict. And almost anything else, we're golden. Turns out we're golden. Makes a lot of sense to me. It looked like we were crazy far ahead. Let's go again. This deck is fun to play. I like it. I would love to play first. I would quite like to keep this hand. This looks decent. Be nice to have a fetch instead of that swamp, but you know, the Thought Scour we're casting on turn 1 might, well, at the end of our opponent's turn 1, the Thought Scour that we're casting might dig us into a fetch, plus a draw step. Start reducing our life total a bit. Fill up the graveyard. Makes me happy. I suppose it's a bit dubious casting our only instant or sorcery before Pyro, but we'll draw more. It'll be fine. Can't you? Okay. This looks like a bad, like a human's draw with shaky mana to me. Because there's no way they would play the canopy first voluntarily. Or at least they don't usually, I should say. That's a hell of a draw. I'm going to get this thing down. I'm trying to give the impression that we're like a, what's it called, like a Grixis Delver deck or something. Hopefully they cast a creature like a Noble Hierarch or something. Second Vial, okay. Pretty good, but we've got the snap so we can really go after their mana. That's a good, well, that's a bad draw actually, let's be honest. Target player, target artifact, bang, bang, bang. Force them to violin a champion if they've got one. It's a noble, that's also acceptable. Keep the pressure on. So hopefully we'll get enough mana to the point where we can snap K command and blow up the other one and stuff, but our current spot is fine. Okay, presumably Thalia's Lieutenant or something. A Mantis Rider. Okay. Death Shadow's looking pretty good. Got a decision to make. I think Snap Inquisition is probably better. I can be fairly confident their hand is 2 spells based on the way the game's played out. Well, Thalia's Lieutenant will destroy me, so... Will it? Hang on, let's think this through. Thalia's pretty good against me as well. But Thalia's Lieutenant... They're just attacking for quite a lot next turn, yeah. This would have been a good game to draw a Fatal Push or a Lightning Bolt, wouldn't it? Hopefully, you know, we've got time. We might. We're not attacking. We're taking 4 in the air again. So their hand is a Thalia. Which they probably just play. Oh sure, crack Canopy and then, yeah, that makes some sense as well. We're taking 5. 5's a lot. Doesn't mean our Death Shadow is going to be ridiculous. It also means there's a bit of pressure on to find a removal for the Mantis Rider. going to say they want to do that now, so it costs me more. They don't really want to wait. Okay. So we kind of know what we're up against. It's just that currently we can't beat it. They've got no good ground attacks though. And the fear of Battle Rage might make them play wrong, as in not attack. Obviously there's a chance they just draw away to pump the Mantis Rider in and we take Xaxes. I'll be cycling Unearth at the end of turn looking for a removal. Okay, take 5. Please don't violin a lieutenant. Going to 1. Bad. Something. Okay. Hang on, that will leave me with 1, 2. Three blockers. Yeah. It's interesting that they don't seem to value that champion very highly. I suppose given that they've only got 1 land, Noble Hierarch is probably better. Okay. Stuff happens. Make a token. Okay. Not so bad. It still might be bad. I think we're very slightly ahead. See if they attack. So they make the kind of fairly predictable attack, I guess. Not casting anything. I'm blocking. Wow, I was about to say a pain-free untapped land would be ridiculously good, and that's what we got. Because now we can snap push. Let's attack. I can't beat it if their Vile shits out a Mantis Rider. I can't beat it. Anything else with golden? Might have been correct to go for the Hierarch and crimp their mana, but I don't like paying extra for my spells. Just in case they violin a Reflector Mage or something. worried about now. Not sure. I feel like maximum blockers is good, so if I play that out, Thought Scour, and for like Spell Pierce probably won't matter, but having Thought Scour to make 2 more blockers might help. Although really we're still just dead to Mantis Rider, which has always been the case. Okay, good. So I feel like a Braid is good, and obviously Plague Engineer is like, this is the matchup it was made for. Probably still want the Last Hope as well. And that leaves me with 5 things to cut. So Spell Pierce is the easy one, and Spell Snare probably because of Vial and Cavern. And we don't really lose. Well, we don't really lose creatures in combat, so I guess Unearth, because they go like they get bounced to your hand, or I suppose there's a chance we'll end up chumping with things like snaps, and unearthing a snap is a thing, but let's give this a try. I don't know historically how regular Death Shadow gets on versus humans, but that felt fine. This also feels fine. Done. Decent first hand. 2 landers feel like that's where it's at with this deck. Ah, the Noble. Well, guess it's slightly better for us than bloody Vial. Not really looking forward to getting my Dreadhorde Arcanist Reflector Maged. Also not really looking forward to having to deal with a Thalia, but, you know, I suppose this way I can Thoughtseize the Reflector Mage this turn. And we're still at a high life total. Well, leave him with some mana. So I guess the plan now is to stick either one of these creatures. They've either drawn another land or a 3-drop. That's not so bad, is it? Okay, we no longer have any information. Take it because we've got a Death Shadow in our hand. So my intention is to attack with the Arcanist, cast one of these 2, and pay 1 tax, and then use my other mana for Death Shadow. I probably should have articulated that better earlier. But this could be a reasonable turn. Reflector Mage? That wouldn't be good. Deputy, I guess that's fine. Well, it's basically the same thing, it's not great. So I'm going to pass. I'm going to push one of their attackers. Well, Thalia. That doesn't... Yeah, I think I've played this wrong. take 2 from the deputy. Ah, curses. That was the other thing they had in their hand, yeah. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, Death Shadow goes a long way to winning the game all on its own. Card is ridiculous, so let's not get too despondent. Yeah, we can get pretty despondent now. Okay. Well, that's how that goes. That'll teach me to scry a land to the bottom, or to put a land to the bottom with the mole. Stick with the plan. Plan was fine, execution was poor. Mulligan. I'm just going to try and destroy their hand. Hopefully they have a hand that can be disrupted a lot with this. I mean, it's always Noble Hierarch, isn't it? Auriok Champion's decent, though. As is Thalia. Their hand is great against me. Honestly, any of those 4 cards you can make a serious case for. We don't have any removal in hand currently. I'm leaning towards using my 2 on Thalia and Auriok Champion. With Thalia being the higher priority, because I can't even cast my spells at the moment because I've only got 1 land. Cavern Noble. This all makes sense. So I guess we're looking for just a fetch land. It's not a fetch. So what's more annoying out of an unblockable 1/1 that makes them gain life, and this thing that just makes life shit? Champion, because I have a Death Shadow in hand, so I don't mind losing a couple lives. So, hang on. So that's gone. We've got doubles of those, so that's their hand. Yeah, no surprise. Can I get a land, please? I can. That's quite good. Okay. They probably cracked the canopy, I guess. It's not got that much gas in hand. I guess it could be a meddling mage and just name one of the things in my bin. That would be quite clever. Don't really want to get Mantis Rided. That's, yeah, that is an angry boy. I guess they don't know about the Death Shadow. Bolt. Pretty good though. This could be really loose if they haven't got... Actually, I wish I didn't make that attack. Just realised how low my life total is going to be after the trigger. Yeah, that was bad. This is where you use the oops emoji on Arena. Oh, I've annoyed it myself. Let's hope Death Shadow can bail me out, eh? Because it is a hell of a card. But that was super bad, because in my head I was thinking I can take the last card from their hand, and then I remembered I've got to take some damage here. I'd take damage there. I think it's mad that they let the Arcanist go through unblocked. I don't know what they were thinking. They could have just eaten it with their Mantis Rider. So I didn't get as punished as I should have. Obviously we're just looking for removal for these two twats. Deputy, probably take the Death Shadow. Would be my thinking. Okay, so we're in trouble. Now we need lots of removal. That isn't it. How are we getting out of this? We're not, we're dead in the air. Well, need to maybe change the deck a bit. Well, we'll see, because like removal, especially removal like Bolt and Push that only kills small things, is obviously better against humans. So there it looked like we didn't have enough, but in general I feel like the deck should have enough. Naught. I like my opponent's name. I like that it's pretty emphatic for being in all caps and having 3 T's. My friend Paulbert would approve. He drinks lots of tea. This hand looks pretty exciting. Perfect. So happy with my Thoughtseize and Dismember hand. Well, you've got to use the cards you've got. This might save me 1 or 2 life. Bump. Wow. We're going to that place, it seems. So my thinking is that in order for my Push to still be a card, I probably leave them with Eidolon and take one of the others. Probably just Bolt, because it's a better card than Spike. And then, so their turn is clearly cast Eidolon. My turn is push Eidolon going to 13, fetch going to 10, play a Death Shadow that they currently can't kill. So that's out of the hand, and that's out of the hand. Let's get that thing dead. And this is probably the worst land. Now, this is annoying because this thing could get bolted if they've drawn exactly Bolt. But equally, I don't really mind them bolting it. We've got an Unearth. They have drawn exactly Bolt. Spike me to 7. Their hand is bump and 1. Part of me wants to make them discard a card, but mostly I just want to unearth my Shadow and pray. I don't mind, like, there's not that much point in making them discard bump because they've not got black mana. Yeah. I'm going to fetch Blood Crypt tapped. There's no way they can block. Wow, they blocked. Coward. Okay. I could easily die. That's the mana for bump. That is awesome news. How do I do this? So that's a 6/1. So I can either dismember that, paying full life. Hang on, I need to put myself to 1 because then I can lethal them with K command. So in order to put myself to 1, I have to fetch and cast Dismember for life. Okay. And then I win the game. Hang on. So I have to go life, life, and then 1. Fetch, tapped. I didn't expect that card, I have to say. Right, what modes are we choosing? Okay, cool. We win. That was fun. Do I want Plague Engineers naming elementals just because of that? Probably not. Do I want to change anything? Like, I probably want brutalities, don't I? I guess maybe, like, trim some of the more painful stuff is honestly correct. As cowardly as it feels, because that game was sweet, putting yourself to 1 on purpose. This hand looks grand. Let's see what we've got. What we're up against. Bump, yes, got me. You win. I mean, it's Thoughtseize, isn't it? As much as the damage hurts. They have not got any. You know, all their stuff's the same. Is there any benefit to... I guess the Spike is the best card, technically. Oh no, because Skewer can hit a creature. Oh well. So that's their hand. So I presume they're being patient. They must be holding something up. Like a coward. So what do I want to do? Apart from Spell Pierce their play. Is there anything else to do? I've only got access to 1 blue this turn, so maybe I just drop Spell Pierce, but they're clearly holding a 2-drop. Like, there's no way they don't bump and skewer me otherwise. So what would it be? Skullcrack? Maybe they're Mardu, maybe it's Boros Charm. I don't really want to get Boros Charmed. I'm just going to use my turn on Spell Pierce. Okay, maybe they're just being patient. They are confused. Okay. See if this forces any action. Let's also see if they've got white mana or if they are straight red-black. A bump and 2 skewers. Well, if I take the bump, their hand is very clunky. And let's cast this. Okay. I don't mind getting skewered twice. It means our Death Shadow is going to be an enormous clock. Yes, I said clock. I guess I'm getting 3 mana skewered would be my assumption. And then regular skewered after that. Yep. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to play Death Shadow, obviously. I'm going to play Watery Grave tapped. Pass. Wondering if we still want Team of Battle Rage, even though we're not playing the fish. Okay. What's your other card opponent? Does it kill me? Who can say? Maybe not. Let's see if the Snap Spell Pierce saves me. This is... Yay! It did! Woo! So... yeah, there have been times where it's felt like I needed a Team of Battle Rage in the deck. Like 1 copy, maybe. Probably, like... yeah, probably 1 copy is justifiable. Or is there a pump spell that gives trample in these colours that also pumps Arcanist so I can flash back bigger stuff? That might be fun. God, look at this hand. What a nice selection of cards to have opened. Other than the Mismatched Thoughtseize, which is of course an abomination. Well, this smells burny. Let's find out. Let's take 8 on turn 1. Get the ugly one out of the way so we don't have to look at it. And see just how burny these are. They're looking pretty burny. We're going to get bolted. Yeah, we are literally going to take 8 on turn 1. Okay. The Blaze is exceptional against me. Boros Charm is very good. Okay, take Searing Blaze. Because I've got these two very powerful low toughness creatures in my hand. They are very burny. They are as burny as the socialist left in America. Is that a good joke? Probably not. Does it qualify as a joke at all? Give me a free land. Spell Pierce, that's a fun one. Shame they know about it. IR Skewered. Well, only got one thing to do. Oops. And that is play this Death Shadow, hold up this Spell Pierce, and cross our fingers. So their hand is those two cards. I currently can't attack, which is of some comfort. And I guess they're planning on paying for a Boros Charm in the future. Cannot tap. Cannot tap out. It'd be suicide. Target myself. Your go, opponent. So they've done that so that they can pay for a Boros Charm, which will put me to 1. Of course I have to cast it. Okay. So what do I need from here? A removal spell. A lightning bolt and them not to block. That's all I have to say is pass turn, hope that K command can do something. As in, they like their draw is a goblin guide or something, and they try to kill me by attacking, and we can kill it. So nobody can cast anything. They can't... Well, I think I've lost, basically. So I'm going to attack and give them the chance to make the mistake of blocking. Which they don't make. go? This is nonsense. They very smartly cycled that. The chances of them casting a spell into their own Eidolon is 0, I assume, but... yeah, we don't have a way to gain life in the main deck. Cool. That was odd. Let's get some of these in. And... yeah. Something like that. Oh. Looks like a good hand to me. We can fetch for basics if we like. We can get a Steam Vents on turn 1 and have the access to either of these into Brutality on turn 2. Looks acceptable. So my assumption is that they always have a 1-drop. It just feels like, yes, of course. Well, I'm going to kill it. Am I? Yes. I thought about... trying to wait and killing it with Brutality instead, but doesn't seem very smart. Damn, I did not want to draw that. Man, this is a hard spell to cast. It's either Boros Charm for the most damage or a Spike to stop them double spelling, but then they can just suspend, so it's Boros Charm, and their hand is stacked. But it doesn't contain any way to kill a Jace Vryn's Prodigy unless they suspend the Rift Bolt this turn. If they just spike me twice or something. Okay, they've suspended it this turn. Cracking. So these two are done, that one's done. Do I use Jace as a lightning rod? Probably. Because if they don't go for him, then he can flash back Brutality, and if they do, he saves me 3 lives. He'd saved me 3 lives. That was nice. I have to take a bit of damage in order to make a shadow. That's quite helpful. Okay. I'm trying to remember if they've... I think they've used the spike as well. Path. That's irritating, because we did... well, we topped a mediocre spell, we can draw better. Yep, got me. That is better. Okay, that's very helpful. Let's pray no... Searing Blaze doesn't do it. I was going to say let's pray for no Searing Blaze, but... Good decision, opponent. Hold that in case we draw a Brutality. Or a Jace, but this feels like we needed gas that turn. They have to attack. Then they could have the out of killing me with one spell. That ain't up to much. I think we're dead. Well, I guess it's about right. We played Burn twice, and Burn versus Deaths Shadow is like always on a knife edge. It looks like we're going to win one and lose one. Bit gutting the way they drew that timely path, but they did sideboard them in, so kudos, I suppose. So they've set up lethal. Yeah. Balls. Okay, well, we got one shot at a winning record. So in terms of improvements, I do like the idea of having one Battle Rage or some other pump spell that gives trample. I have to look at, I have to do a search on Scryfall or something for a red or black pump spell that gives trample that I could play. It obviously wouldn't be as busted as Battle Rage, but it would be nice in the Dreadhorde Arcanist deck. This hand looks lovely. Jace has been a touch underwhelming. Maybe he can go. The reason for him was like he can fill the graveyard, but he hasn't done a lot. I suppose people have respected him enough to kill him on sight, so that kind of counts as doing something. Well, I'm going to do a Jund impression so that the Spell Pierce or Spell Snare might freak him out. Oh, Christ. This is like the free spells deck. I am not sure how to play against this. And Spell Pierce is probably going to be pretty great if they're relying on Electro Dominance and As Foretold resolving. Presumably one of these is getting cycled. I'm debating whether next turn I can afford to tap out for Jace. Kind of feel like I have to because my hand's not going very it's quite defensive. I kind of just need to have a way to win the game. Cycled a Riverwinder. Definitely just getting a Watery Grave. I'm playing this guy. And then crossing our fingers. No Electro Dominance, please, opponent. I don't mind them hurting themselves. I find that quite helpful. That's quite funny. They had it. This is not good. So they can Living End to get that stuff back, if they so wish. Which they do wish. I wish they hadn't. 5/5 hexproof, eh? Can I have a Death Shadow, please? I guess I still might. I mean, I'm killing one of those, aren't I? But it's a bit frustrating not having hit a Death Shadow, but whatever. I suspect we've lost this game. Can probably fight in a slightly more convincing fashion post sideboard. What does Dampening Sphere do against them? Stops them using it the turn they cast it. Does it do anything else? Dampening Sphere is bloody good against Electro Dominance, so if they're on that plan, that might be helpful. And I guess I just want some amount of graveyard hate. Oh, come on, opponent. If you're going to play this filthy deck, you should at least pay attention so I'm not bored. This feels a little bit pointless. I don't really know why I'm doing it. I suppose I'm trying to give myself the out of drawing exactly Death Shadow or something. But I'm going to 1 here. Which is an awful lot like being dead. I can't draw Bolt and Death Shadow. That's literally impossible. Okay, fine. So, we cannot Chalice on 0 because we don't have Chalice, which is sad. Let's figure things out. We don't have any graveyard hate. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have just copy-pasted this sideboard. How do I win? Honestly, I don't know. How do I win? Liliana of the Veil is a removal for the 5/5 with hexproof. That is very ambitious. That's probably not good enough. I guess I want Damping Spheres. Maybe I'll bring Lily Last Hope in to fill my own graveyard. And Brutalities as ways to fill my own graveyard. Leave Jason for that purpose. Probably... I guess I have to keep Unearths as like a thing I can do post getting Wrathed. Fatal Pushes probably has only Crashing Footfall tokens as targets. Let's get them out. I highly doubt there's any 2-drops outside of the Electro Dominances cast for 0. Hopefully we can prevent them casting them. And I'll cut 1 Kate command because it seems bad. And we'll give this a whirl, and I'm not feeling optimistic, sorry. Is this like this perfectly fine hand, is this good enough? I guess honestly it depends on how good this Serum Visions is, doesn't it? But you know, we'll give it a whirl. We probably need a hand where we just chain like black spells into a Death Shadow and just sort of remain in control throughout. I don't know if this deck has any advantages over actual Death Shadow. It's almost certainly worse, because nothing I'm doing is very original. It strikes me as being very unlikely that better players than me haven't tried this already and concluded it's not good enough, is what I'm trying to say. In other words, assuming they're right, it probably isn't good enough, but I don't know. I like Dreadhorde Arcanist, and that's kind of it. Didn't want a land. Don't think I want Unearth, but I do want Death Shadow. So I guess I cast Jace so that I can start putting creatures in the bin? Is that even logical? I really need to get a Inquisition to take their bloody... as foretold before it resolves. Oh. They probably cycle one of their funny, obscure blue creatures here. That is exactly what happens. Well, I noticed they got a basic island, so their hand probably doesn't contain an Electro Dominance, which I find comforting on some level. It means we've got one more turn, because well, actually they couldn't, yeah, they'd have to put stuff in their graveyard first, so Electro Dominance wouldn't do it this turn either. What you got? Tapped! Woof! That's good news. We're being given the gift of time. Let's see how much. This could just miss if they've all got cyclers and stuff. Oh! Well, we take the card we can't beat. I should respond with the Bloodstain Mire if I'm allowed to, because I would like to flip the Jace and I wasn't paying attention. I'm not allowed to. Okay. Well, maybe I get to loot next turn one more time, and that's not all bad. Let's make a 1/1 and have another look at their hand, which is totally uncooperative as things sit, which I like. We're insulated against the top decked as foretold with the Spell Pierce. So that was their draw. I assume they just play a land and pass. Not sure if it was smart on any level to tap out of Spell Pierce. I felt like we weren't facing too much, so it was safe, but I could be wrong. Oh, well, at least there's only 1 point. I've been slowly getting better at not making, like, interface-related fuck-ups, but... that definitely counts. Okay. So we've got near perfect information. Cycling something now, I guess. Can you transmute only as a sorcery? Might be that. Okay. So they're seeing what they hit, which turns out to be 2 4/4s. Okay. That's quite good. Although I do want to lose life. Get a fetch land. Ooh. That's extremely helpful. So I'm going to pass with access to both Spell Pierce and Dismember, with the plan being to pay 4 and Dismember 1, putting the Death Shadow to a 5/5 and eating the other. Should have used Jace. Not playing well. I got excited about having a plan. What's going on? What's all that? Oh, that was the revealed cards from the thing, from the cascade. Both at me. Done that thing it did earlier where I wanted to do a thing and then failed at doing said thing. So we get a token and we kill 1, eat 1, make a token, have good attacks next turn, feel better about ourselves. That was probably worth them casting a Force Negation, to be fair. Do I... yeah. I was going to say, do I even want to block or do I want to take some damages, but I'd rather just get rid of it. We've got a 2-turn clock, so it's quite helpful. Oh. Don't choose one. Yeah. Get some damage in. That's half their life. I'm going to play another Death Shadow question mark. No, we've got lethal. I'm going to keep Thought Scour just in case they go for like a living end or something. I've got Spell Pierce and Thoughts. Yeah, this seems like the best thing I can do. Just try to be patient. Okay, good. Same plan. Same plan. Let's try and pull off a semi-respectable 3-2. This is a totally unrespectable easy mulligan pile of garbage. Oops, clicked keep then. Might be wrong. I'm hoping that Thoughtseize and Dreadhorde Arcanist is going to be enough disruption to win target game. It's almost certainly better to fetch rather than just play the Watery Grave. Puts me on a lower life total and thins the deck. Cycling now is odd. Gives me more information. Oh, it's because they're worried about their mana. So I can take Strike Witherwinder and hope to mana screw them, which I think is the funniest option. And I'm going to do that. And yeah, just cross my fingers. Because their good cards each cost 3. This looks promising. This looks an awful lot like them missing a land. Oh. Well, we've got time to strip away that Blood Moon, so we still get to play the game. Although I am wondering whether taking the As Foretold is preferable. This will presumably be a cycle. Go on, don't hit a land. Bastards. It's a con. It's a massive con. And that's a... I can mill myself. Another land, this is annoying. I'm kind of priced into... Actually no, I've got both my basics. I'm going to take the As Foretold for sure. Makes way more sense. There's nothing in the graveyard for them to Electro Dominance yet. They're going to take 1 damages. I'm going to play this so I can fetch my swamp. Assuming their plan is now to Blood Moon me. I think that's 5 of the 6 cards in their hand. I'm not going to fetch. Let's do some stuff. So I'm going to draw that Death Shadow. I'm just going to try and set up lethal as fast as possible. That's weird. What are they shocked for? Now I'm suspicious. Removal spell? Question mark? A braid or something? Oh, that's not... I was thinking of the red finale. I'm an idiot. They're making some 4/4s. My thing's going to die. Give me that Death Shadow. Doesn't matter, I'm going to shuffle. They're going to eat my thingy, which is a bit annoying, but basically fine. So these are gone. That's their hand. I've somewhat understood what's going on, other than thinking that was the red finale. If during the last half hour or whatever, my misunderstanding what Electro Dominance did has thrown you off, I do apologise. Well, opponent seems to be tanking, presumably about whether to Blood Moon, because then they can't cast As Foretold. That's bold. I think I'm quite happy about that, which makes me think that they've got something else going on, because that's like, that seems bad. Oh, it's because they are hoping to hit a living end, I guess. And that's kind of the same difference. It's more blockers. Okay, well, stuff has to go well for me from here, but there's nothing to say that it won't. Those things having trample is a pain in the tits, I have to say. Have to cast Thought Scour. Try and mill something useful. And draw something useful, I guess. They've got 12 power with trample, and I've got 7 toughness and 4 life, and they don't have to block, so I can't attack. Is basically my conclusion. And I have to make some fairly depressing blocks if they just turn everything sideways anyway. Oh, they didn't. Okay. Gives me some outs, I suppose. That ain't it. I'm going to chump attack with 1 in order to cast Thought Scour, which is sad. Me. They should eat that. And they do. Okay. I guess they're playing as if they're scared of Team of Battle Rage, which is of some benefit. I also find it odd that they haven't slammed Blood Moon. I guess it's because I've got basics and they haven't, so it does make my life harder. Best draw is obviously Fatal Push. Then they lose all their rhinos. Dismember's fine. I'll pay mana for it. But then they only lose one of the rhinos. Dismember would be nice. Cake Command would be fine. I could buy back another Death Shadow. Buy back a Snap. Probably Death Shadow. Let's see if they mush my face. They do not. Cowards. Woof. I feel like they have to block. Be interesting to see if they gang block to kill it or not. Single block. Double block seems the worst. Triple block makes some sense. I'll take 3, trade. Yup. What are they up to? I don't trust a single thing this deck can do. It seems to be purely based around being rude. Okay. Okay. What are you giving flying? My token? Outrageous. Okay, that's probably good for me. I'm going to attack with all. Oh, my Unearth got exiled. Piss. I thought I was going to get to unearth something. We've gotten really unlucky with Flood this game. Might kill us. That and, you know, the opponent deliberately trying to kill us, that might also kill us. Very confused. I'm sure these 3 cards are still in their hand though, so. I feel as though they're desperately trying to scratch out of a tight spot. Yay, we won! Okay, well, we got a 3-2 with that silly deck, which was quite satisfying. There are definitely improvements to be made. Like just playing Death Shadow, that would be the main improvement. Obviously I'm going to persist with this because I like it, but it's not good. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.